All right, let's dive into the world of Robert Kiyosaki. His philosophy on money has totally shaken up how millions of people think about their finances. If you've ever felt like you're just stuck on a hamster wheel, working harder and harder but never really getting anywhere, then this is definitely for you. Right out of the gate, Kiyosaki comes in swinging at this idea we've all been taught: job security. For generations, the playbook has been go to school, get a safe job, get a steady paycheck. But Kiyosaki says, in today's world, that's not just old-fashioned advice. He thinks it's downright dangerous advice that keeps people trapped. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If that traditional path doesn't work anymore, what does? Well, to explain it, Kiyosaki tells the story of the two main influences in his life, his poor dad and his rich dad. And their views on money couldn't have been more different. It's really the foundation for everything he teaches. Now, this isn't just a cute story. It's really a way to understand two completely different ways of thinking about money. See, one of his dads was a brilliant, highly educated man with a great government job, but he was always struggling with money. The other dad, he was a high school dropout who ended up becoming one of the richest men in Hawaii. And this is where you really see the clash in thinking. On one side, you have poor dad, that's his real father, who believed a job was everything. Security was his top priority. He'd say things like, the love of money is evil, and play it safe. But on the other side, you've got rich dad, his friend's father, who saw money as just a tool. He was all about building systems to create freedom. The difference is crystal clear. One mindset is chasing security, the other is chasing freedom. Okay, so how did Kiyosaki take this idea and make it practical? Well, he created this amazing tool called the CASHFLOW Quadrant. Honestly, you can think of it like a map. It shows you exactly where your money is coming from right now, and, more importantly, it helps you figure out where you want it to come from in the future. The whole quadrant is basically split right down the middle into a left side and a right side. And these two sides represent totally different ways of earning a living. Kiyosaki's big argument is that real, true financial freedom is pretty much only found on one side of this thing. The goal? To move from the left side over to the right. So let's break this down. Over on the left, you've got E for employee. Their main driver? Security. Below them is S for self-employed or specialist. Their big value is independence. But here's the catch for both of them. They trade their time for money. The S person doesn't just have a job, they own their job. If they don't work, they don't get paid. Now let's look at the right side. You have B for business owner. They don't own a job, they own a system that makes money for them. And finally, I for investor. This is where your money literally works for you. That's the path to real financial freedom. And that, right there, is the huge difference. On the left side, you are the engine. You work for the money. On the right side, you build engines, systems, and investments that work for you. To really hammer this point home, Kiyosaki tells this great little story. So let's meet Ed. Ed is a super hard worker, a classic S-quadrant guy. He's in the business of hauling water. He carries buckets all day long. One bucket, he gets paid. If he's sick or on vacation or just tired, no buckets, no money. Simple as that. He owns his job, but in a way, his job also owns him. Now meet Bill. Bill is a B-quadrant thinker. Instead of just carrying buckets, he spent his time up front building a system, a pipeline. And once that pipeline was built, it delivered water 24/7, whether he was there or not. He created an asset that worked for him, and it completely changed the game. It puts a pretty important question to all of us, right? In your life, are you carrying buckets or are you building a pipeline? This whole idea of building assets, of building pipelines, leads us to what Kiyosaki says is the single most important rule for building wealth. You absolutely must know the difference between an asset and a liability. And trust me, his definitions are probably not what you learned in school. Forget all the complicated accounting terms. For Kiyosaki, it all comes down to one thing: cash flow. An asset, very simply, is anything that puts money into your pocket. That's it. And a liability, well, you guessed it. It's the complete opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. It really is that simple. Now, using these super clear definitions, Kiyosaki makes his most famous and probably most controversial claim. Yup, you heard that right. That house you live in, the cornerstone of the American dream, the thing that everyone tells you is your biggest asset, according to this cash flow definition, it's a liability. Okay, why? Well, just think about it in terms of cash flow. Does your home put money in your pocket every month? No. It does the exact opposite. It's constantly taking money out. You've got the mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, all the maintenance and repairs. It's a constant drain on your cash. The lesson from Rich Dad was to spend your life buying assets that generate income, not liabilities that eat it up. So if you want to make that journey from the left side of the quadrant over to the right, how do you actually do it? Well, it's not about finding some secret stock tip. It's about a deep, fundamental change in how you think and who you are. And look, Kiyosaki is really upfront about this. It is not easy. It's not just about learning new financial tactics. It's about changing your entire mindset, your habits, and your relationship with things like risk and failure. It's really a journey of personal growth, but the payoff is freedom. So what are the actual steps on this path? First off, mind your own business. This means you need to focus on building up your asset column, not just worrying about your paycheck. Second, you have to control your cash flow. Know exactly where your money is going so you can point it towards assets. Third, educate yourself to manage risk, not just run away from it. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to overcome fear, specifically the fear of making mistakes. You know, our whole school system teaches us that mistakes are bad. You get a big red X on your paper, right? It makes us terrified of failure. But in the real world of business and investing, mistakes are how you learn. It's not the opposite of success, it's part of the process. You try something, you mess up, you learn from it, you adjust, and you get smarter. That's how you gain real wisdom. And really, in the end, Kiyosaki's message goes way beyond just money. It's about designing a life you actually want to live. Moving to the right side of the quadrant, that's about getting the freedom to follow your passions and your true purpose. So the final question isn't just how can I get rich? It's what path will let me live the life that's truly in my heart. Thanks for tuning in.